Hey everyone, welcome to another great episode of Sales 101, the B2B Sales Classroom. We're your hosts, Donald T. Kelly and
BJ Allen.
And we're super stoked for our guest today. We're tackling a topic that we have not tackled on the podcast at all. And this is retail sales. And we're bringing on my man, Patrick Carter. He's a friend of ours that I've been able to know for several years, follow me on LinkedIn, and just really a wealth of knowledge. And we're really excited to have him come on the show. BJ, we got a chance to talk about retail beforehand. Why are you so pumped about this particular episode?
I mean, because a lot of our students work in retail and in B2C sales, and everything we've done on our podcast, Donald, has been about B2B sales. So
I'm not
excited.
biased.
Yeah, I know. We love everybody. We're very inclusive on this podcast. So we're gonna have him come on and talk about some really cool stuff about opportunities that are out there, the money that can be made in B2B or in B2C sales. So you're gonna love it.
Yeah, and Patrick he's a sales leader right now and brings a wealth of knowledge from actual selling technology to selling furniture. He's brought it all. I really love his passion and excitement. You're going to feel that. And some of you are going to leave here as professors who probably wanted to leave your day job as professor and go sell because the excitement you're going to get from Patrick. But it's a very interesting and awesome profession. And I know you're going to take a lot from it as we dive into this piece. Patrick, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you both so very much. I appreciate you.
We're excited to have you. And I bragged about you in intro, and BJ, as we talked about bringing you on, we were excited because you come from a background that we haven't really talked about on the podcast, and that's retail sales. And would love for you to just take a second and tell us about your, in maybe 10 seconds, 20 seconds, elevator pitch. What have you done in retail sales? And then we'll go into what exactly it is. So what you currently do right now.
Okay, retail is a wide open range, and in my career, I've sold everything that basically, if it plugs in or if it makes you money, I sold it, from insurance to financial services, electronics, offices, furniture, and finally into technology, where I've really gotten into more as a sales leader. But obviously, with every sales leader, you are actually selling. But always on a retail floor, where the customers are coming in fast and furiously. And that's what I think is the big excitement about being in retail versus a B2B framework.
Love it. Let's talk to us exactly. What exactly is retail? Define that for me, because we talk a lot about B2B selling. I'm selling to another business. I have software. My business create a software, and we sell that said software to other businesses that can use it in our sales cycle, maybe 3 months to 6 months. If it's enterprise, it could be longer. And I'm dealing with 7 to 10 stakeholders, managing that process. What is retail? Am I talking about selling, being at the corner store selling, or what exactly is retail?
The real answer, and I'll use the same framework that you were. You use the framework B2B, which is business to business. Retail, the easiest answer is B2C, business to consumer. Who's going to be the end that you're selling? At that point, you're selling to the end user. So the B2B sales, using an analogy, a B2B sales rep would be selling the parts to build the car to another business, the car manufacturer. But then the business itself, to sell the car, will be selling it to an actual consumer. So that's where that's where the differentiator is, where there's an end user, a consumer at the very end who will consume that product or service, and that's what's going to make it a retail look. And that's the key difference.
So Patrick, one of the reasons we are excited to have you on is because, most of our discussion so far has been more of a B2B perspective. But the truth is, a lot of our students get jobs in B2C. I mean, a lot of go into financial industry, insurance, and these are a lot of the companies that recruit from the universities. So just talk a little bit about, what are some of the main differences in terms of what professors need to be teaching students to prepare them for a B2B or a B2C or retail type sell?
Well, what they need, the basic structure is going to be the same. If you look at the selling cycle, that you're always going to have that same cycle where you're going to have to build rapport, right? You're going to have to do some form of discovery. You're going to do a presentation. You're going to overcome some objections, and you're going to try to close. And if you're really good after that close, you will build referrals, right? We won't get into that last piece. That's a whole another conversation.
That's
right?
another episode
But
we'll do.
that's a whole nother episode. But B2C and B2B have that same selling cycle. That doesn't change. So a professor will be teaching those critical discovery skills, how to ask a question, how to shut up and listen, how to know that product and service so well that when they hear and when that good discussion answer comes, they can equate that to their product and service and then build that into the presentation. And if they're really good, they can build those objections, overcoming those objections into the discovery. But that's a whole nother conversation. But that's what the professors who are already teaching a B2B proposition, they can continue that framework. But what they need to add is speed and flexibility to the conversation, where the discovery could take 4 meetings at its worst, because you have different stakeholders in a B2B environment. In the B2C, that discovery could literally be one question. And then when you add in that those same pressures that are happening in the B2B world, where the customers are coming to the table further into the process because of the internet, because of their own research, because they have in-house specialties, right? Those customers are coming into the retail store also further into their thing. So that's why those discovery questions can be one question. Which color are you looking for? Right? A customer, I've seen customers walk into stores and literally say, and this is not an ad, I'll use an older model, who will walk into a store, I want an iPhone 16 Pro with 526 gigs of memory. They know exactly what they want. If the question is, do you have it? And that's a B2B issue. We can talk upline. We can talk about upstream. Did you not close that deal? Where's my product? Right? That speed needs to be put in. And then I believe that the ability to overcome objections needs to be built in, because hopefully they're teaching the value prop as opposed to the price prop to overcome objections, right? And that, again, I get back to that's more of a parallel of B2B, not necessarily a differentiator from B2B. But the big thing is the number of the determining who the stakeholder is and the speed. Because I can
go ahead, BJ.
So can I ask you, let me ask a follow-up question, because you're in leadership and you train different B2C sellers.
Yes.
How do you teach them that they're not just an order taker? That like someone comes into the iPhone store and they're like, oh, I want an iPhone, and they're like, okay, well, how do you teach them to be a salesperson versus you're not just an order taker?
Well, BJ, if I answer that question, then I would have to have you as one of my consulting clients, and then I would have to send you an invoice.
Come on, Matt.
The real answer is to help the salesperson understand how they're being paid, right? And that's the same, and that's across the board. I don't need a sales professional to hawk goods. I'll start there. Because my website hawks the goods, right? My website does a better job than many sales professionals, because my website knows all the products, all the specs, and it has all the information.
Yeah.
The answer to your question, BJ, is to help my reps understand what they bring to the table is the knowledge, not the information. So the customer that came in and asked about that 16 Pro with the specific memory, the next question is, what are you using it for? Acknowledge it, roll it. Wow, that is fantastic. That is a really, really, really great phone. Tell me what are you using yours for? And once that customer because that's as far as many customers get with the information. Then when you get to the knowledge, that's where you come in. Well, because I want great pictures. And again, I'm not caping up for anybody's technology.
iPhones can take good pictures, though.
Go on.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, well, if you're
Y'all
here for
haters.
pictures, no, I'm just saying, if you're here for pictures, let me show you this galaxy, right? Or if, but because that's just the reality. Because again, helping that customer find the best product involves good discovery. Because then that's what it comes down to, and that's what I teach my team. And then once you help that customer, and once that customer sees that you bring something more to the table, retail, then all the add-on purchases become that much more easy, but that much easier, because you've shown a reason that they should trust you. Let's call it like it is. Salespeople in the retail setting have a bad rap. I literally have a plaid jacket that I wear once a year as a joke to tell my team, we are not this guy, right? We're not the slick talking, hey, what do I got to do to get you into this car today, little lady? No, that is not us. That is a caricature. So we have to overcome that by bringing value early and often. And when we can do that, then if we're talking furniture, I'm just going to talk furniture because I've talked electronics. As we're talking furniture, then the artwork, they believe you when you say that if you want this sofa to work, you need the artwork and the coffee tables, and you need the pillows, and you need the protection in case someone spills on it.
Yeah.
If you are just that order taker, BJ, up at the very beginning, why would they believe you? Why would they trust you when you say the stuff on the back end? And that's where retail talks about. That's why I talk about we don't have the luxury of time. If you're going to have four discovery meetings, maybe even a dinner, my goodness, where you actually have time to really get to know that customer, you can build trust. Retail, we don't have that luxury. So we have to get in early, show up professionally. We have to answer questions accurately, because the easiest way to lose credibility, is to not know something that the customer knows walking in, right? So we have to do that. So bring it all the way back to your original question, that professors need to teach that speed. They need to teach how to build that credibility early, and go from there.
One of the things the naivete that I had over the years, and I did door to door, and I made pretty good money.
That's deep water sales. God bless you.
It was for one summer, and here's what I did. I sold security systems door to door, and you had like maybe 5 on a good day, maybe 10 seconds. You give them that pitch to get their attention, and it's like it's like an emergency. It's like a crisis. That's the way I want to best describe it, because you have one window you cross, and you get to the next window. And because if I just come to your door and say, hey, do you have 45 minutes for me to sell you electric security system? It's never going to happen. But I just have to get your attention. Once I get your attention, move on to the next crisis is now to pitch you. Once I pitch you, then the next thing is I need to get into your house. Once I get into your house, I need to sit down and give a tour to you of your house, of where the system would go. And then I need to get to the point where I'm going to have you say yes to that and give me your social security so I can run your credit. and then before I leave, have my technician come and put 4 holes in your wall and put a system in, so it's less likely for you to leave. So that was my summer, and I was like, I ain't doing this again.
As I said, that's deep water. As soon as you said direct and door knocking, there is a special place in heaven for everybody who spends time carrying a bag in these streets. I mean,
I want you to understand this. You're walking around all day, first off, all day in the summertime, and you're burning calories and so forth. But I gained weight, and I think it was just a stress and awful lifestyle, because I never gained weight. This is the first time I gained 10 pounds that summer, BJ. 10 pounds. You know how strong I was.
I think Patrick's right. There is a special place in heaven. I don't know where in the hierarchy that special place is.
And this is on the hierarchy. This is where it is, right? B2C, you know where your customers are.
Yeah.
And they know that eventually you're going to come find them, right?
Yeah.
Because they need their products. They know that there will be X number of salespeople who will cross their threshold any given year.
Yeah.
Retail, We are set up. Everyone who walks in that door is coming in for a reason.
Yeah.
Next level. When you get down into those depths where I'm at home watching my television and the doorbell rings and somebody's coming up talking, hey, what's going on with your security system? And then they close business. God bless them.
It has helped teach me a lot over the years and give me a lot of gumption. If you can do that, I feel I can do anything else. But here's one of the things I discovered. It was really lucrative that summer. I made and I'm open to being transparent. It's close to 20 something to 30,000 in 3 months. And I was like, it was lower, more on the 25-ish side. But that's just 3 months of security selling as a college student. And that's on the low end as a rookie. And I was like, man, this is some good money. And I had friends that they had the Tahoes and the satellites on their Tahoes. And I'm like, these guys are making bank. But you get these golden handcuff. When I go to the B2C side, because students come into sales, and it's not about the money, but I think it was Zig Ziglar said money's not the most important thing, but it's right up there with oxygen. Is there people will see well, if I go on B2B tech sale, I can make really good money. Talk to me about that as a professor. I'm teaching as a sales rep working at, because we just went to, and everything you said was 1,000% accurate. I saw too, BJ. We just bought a new living room set. And when we got there, we were like, we know what we're getting. Actually, we didn't know. We went to multiple stores. But the decision had to be made within that set window, right? But dude, I thought the sale was over. When we got the couch, BJ, I thought it was over. I'm a sales guy, so I had to tell Christina we're pulling trigger. But I left, and Christina was there, I think, wrapping some stuff up. Bro, he told me, "Hey, do you want to get a carpet too? Do you want to get the end tables, all this other stuff?" And that's when I realized, especially with the retail, you get them, but then it takes a seller to add on and to make that ticket item even more so. So I totally saw that. And now we got to the point where we're like, all right, we need some new mattresses and bedding. So why don't maybe we should go back to her, and maybe we should get the carpet and all this other stuff now. But she taught us and gave us the knowledge of what we can add on. And that just opened up our eyes, because we just were limited on just the couch. You know what I mean? But I'm just curious, if you don't, we going on here. This is a fun episode, but do you mind just telling us though, on realistic income wise, what that could look like for a professor maybe teaching B2C?
And okay, so, and this is where the excitement comes in.
Yeah.
If at any retailer, obviously the bigger the ticket, the bigger the commissions. That's easy, right? So, if you're in, I'm going to call it technology, where you're selling cell phones and that kind of thing, your average ticket on something like that is going to be on a high side $1,200, right? Because the real money is on the service, is on the recurring. So the salesperson doesn't see the recurring piece. They're going to see the first hit, right? So that's not going to be good. Furniture, there's where you're starting to get into the real big ticket sales, right? We're a single ticket. I'm not going to get into your business, but just if I heard you correctly, that you're getting a sofa, and if you purchase the carpet at the same time, and if you purchase those end tables, you are about a $3,500 ticket, right there.
And that's why husbands have to go with their wives and don't let them get that,
because they will come back talking about it's not that bad anyway. But so it's 3,500, and let me just finish this thought and let me build it out. A jewelry retailer that can get, a Patek Philippe, a Rolex, whatever, now you're into the tens and twenties of $1,000. Auto sales, now you can very easily get into the hundreds of thousands of dollars for that average ticket, right? Sure. So the answer to your question, BJ, I'm sorry, Don, where does the income band sit? The income band sits exactly the same place that well, I won't say that, because some SaaS salespeople can get well into those high
seven-figure sales,
digits, right? High 6, 7 digits, right? So realistically, retail sales, you can, with experience, very easily be in that $150,000 to $500,000 range.
That's
very
very
easily
prevalent.
with experience. And of course you can, and I'm on record. The worst thing that can happen to a brand new salesperson is they have success. I believe that is the worst thing that can happen, because they don't have the skill set to replicate that success. Right.
Yeah.
But that's another conversation. But when a salesperson gets good at what they're doing, and just think about what Don just said, that he would go back to that same woman and get the mattresses. He would go back now that customer, now we're into our CRM. What's the lifetime value of that customer, right? That customer just went from 3,500. If he's going to pick up 2 mattresses, that's another $8,000 right there, because he's going to get the pillows, he's going to get protection, he's going to get all this. He's going to get the
Patrick, you're talking me out of this. You're talking me out of this.
But you're going to get the best sleep of your night. No, I'm sorry. I reverted. I apologize.
Donald's a high roller, so none of these figures mean anything.
Nothing bothers it, right? But you get where I'm going, that the amount of money that you can make in sales, and this is nothing new, it's not necessarily about year 1, year 2 income. It's going to be about your lifetime income. What can you then, if you're staying at that same place, or even if you move and you go from point A to point B, you can take your customers with you now.
Yeah.
I was a sales manager at a furniture store, and I had a sales rep who had an inn at the embassy, the Pakistani embassy. And when people were immigrating, they needed furniture. They came to see my man. I'm talking, it was a pipeline, right?
He was printing money, BJ.
He was printing money. My man was no lie. The store closed, and he went to one of our competitors. Every one of his customers went with him. Those customers had zero loyalty to our store. They had all their loyalty to that sales rep. And that's one of the things that I think has that retail has an absolute advantage over the B2C, B2B rep, is that that relationship is with us.
Yeah.
As opposed to the value of the whatever the company brings, the value that the company brings. Because, and I'll just say this last little piece, because at this point in time, too many of the products that we sell are commoditized.
Yeah.
It's a cell phone. But there are 19 different versions of those cell phones. If Joey can show me why this is the one that I need, this is the one that's going to be the most valuable to me, I need to stay with Joey. When my daughter needs a phone, and when my cousin needs a phone, I'm going to Joey. That's where I'm going. And if Joey is smart enough to build his customer base, then Joey can move from T-Mobile to Sprint, not Sprint, they don't exist. T-Mobile to AT&T to Verizon, to whomever, and his customers know and trust him. And let's go back to the beginning. Who do you do business with? People you
know, like, and trust. Love it, man. I wish we could go on. We could go on for a minute with this one. And there's so many great insights here from all of this. In BJ, any last thoughts that you have?
Patrick, this has been super interesting. I appreciate you being really transparent about the difference between B2B and B2C. And I think some of those skills I think is pretty cool and pretty interesting. And, sometimes as professors, we try and draw such a distinct line between B2B to B2C because our students only have experience with B2C. So we're trying to tell them, hey, like, what you've experienced in sales isn't isn't all of the opportunities that are out there. But I love what you've taught today about, everything we love about sales, the relationships, the people, the money, the lifestyle. I mean, it's still there with B2C. So if you're a student and you love some of those products and those are your passions and things you want to sell, like, don't feel like you have to go to B2B in order to have a meaningful career.
Truly. Yes, I agree 100%.
And I think there's from a professor standpoint, if I was back in teaching, this would be like, you have options is essentially what I got from this. It's like, you don't have to go down one path. You have multiple options. And we can help students understand just as much as we are training them on the profession that you can be a sales professional, and it's not, not as bad as people would say. You could be a retail sales professional just as much as you can do a B2B. And one other piece I find with that is in some of the retails I've seen, you do have more opportunities for commission, in the sense like, some of the roles are heavier on commission, but the constant flow of customers allow you to be able to be more successful. And then the ones who can master those principles that you're saying can be very lucrative with it. And one that I want to point out here to people who may not think is a real estate professional. Those are definitely a B2C. And they have some good question items. Yep. So we'd love it. Patrick, if folks here want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
The best way that they can find me, no matter what, is on LinkedIn. They can find me at Patrick G. Carter, and I make it my business to bring value every day on that site. And I'd be glad to connect and touch base with retail and sales professionals and sales leaders of all types.
Patrick, thank you, man. Appreciate you joining us today.
The pleasure is all mine. Thank you both.
Well, BJ, I'm going to send my resume to Patrick.
Everyone listening now is like, actually, I don't want to be a professor anymore. I want to go sell iPhones.
I'll tell you. But think about it, like I did not understand, because in my mind, I did door to door. And I would say, like, in my view, I thought retail was, and Patrick, you're listening to this. So I always thought, well, retail, it's going to be a little bit easier. But after doing door to door, that's when I realized retail is not as easy, because you have such a short window compared to what we have. Yeah, you can have a complex sales, but it's everything. We're doing all of that stuff, but you have to do it within maybe 30 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, I think also, I think that's a great point, Donald. That was really eye-opening for me. Another point that was eye-opening for me was, the difference between the good and the great sellers is their ability to really understand what the customer is looking for, so that after they purchase the thing they came in for, you can suggest in an intelligent way add-ons, other things, like you mentioned, going to buy a couch and all the other things you ended up with. And I don't think it's because the salesperson was like, oh man, I'm going to get Donald today, I'm going to trick him into buying all this stuff. It was because they understood what you were trying to do with your living room. And so when they offered you suggestions, they were really informed, value-based suggestions. And so then you're like, yeah, actually, maybe I do need the side table to kind of fulfill my vision for what I'm trying to do. So, I think you walk into a furniture store, you already know you want to buy a couch. Anyone could take your order there, but it takes a real salesperson to really provide the value. And those salespeople that do, they're going to make more money because they're selling more stuff.
And to our defense on this part, we didn't go with the side tables and the rug yet, but it was post sale that now Christina's like, we should go get we need this rug.
He's a sucker. Donald teaches sell. He just falls right into the trap every time. I mean, I sell Donald the security system every summer.
I got 5 of them, man. I got to keep. This is Florida, man. I want Florida man, Florida Gator, Florida Hurricane coming through. That's good. No, but it's very interesting, and I just love this episode, and it opened up my eyes to so many things. If you want to connect with Patrick, you can find him on LinkedIn. He is very active on LinkedIn. Actually, he commented on my post today, and I'm going to reply to that, Patrick. But appreciate this. And if you're listening to the podcast and you have a topic that you want to hear, go ahead and send BJ or I a message. You can connect with us on LinkedIn. And if you're looking for a courseware, we actually have our own courseware that we work together with Stukent. So if you're teaching, starting a new semester in the fall, and you're thinking, man, geez, it would be great to have a curriculum that encapsulate all the stuff the guys are talking about on the show, we have one, and we're more than willing to share that with you and give you a demo. If you're interested, go ahead and find the link in the show notes or send us a message on LinkedIn. BJ, I ain't got nothing else to say. As always,
until next time, good luck selling.
See you guys.